All right, we're back on the early wedge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Gentlemen, we've got a signature event next week, right before the PGA Championship, which of course is over at Quail Hollow. So we need a new venue for the Truist Championship. And what is it? The Philadelphia Cricket Club? Anyway, let's talk about what we're looking for there. I'm joined by Patrick McDonald and Jason Sobel. Jason, I know you have played this course before, and there's just not a lot of information out on this course other than the scorecard, which we may put up in a little bit. But what are your thoughts in terms of, what were your impressions when you played it, and what are your thoughts in terms of what type of golfer you're looking for heading in here?
So, yeah, I played it about 2 or 3 summers ago. I have some good friends up in Philly who are pretty well connected with some clubs up there, and we had a great time. Other than me flexing about the fact that I got to play Philly Cricket Club, I'm not sure that I could tell you a whole lot about it. As far as, I think it's difficult for me going out there and saying, oh, well, you've got to, if you don't hit it right to left, you're going to struggle on this golf course. Or, oh, this is a second shot golf course. You can drive it everywhere, but you've got to hit your iron shots really well. I don't know that playing a golf course, I can necessarily see that. I will tell you this much, just in general, and I'm going to do some research later this afternoon tonight on this fact, but I feel like when the PGA Tour goes to venues for a one-off, and I'm not saying venues where they start anew and they start playing a golf tournament for the first time. I'm not saying that, the U.S. Open or the Open Championship, which go through a rotation of golf courses, but I'm saying when the PGA Tour just does a one-off, something like this where, hey, we can't play Quail this year because the PGA is there. We're going to move it somewhere else for a year. I feel like they always err on the side of caution. We usually see a ton of birdies on this golf course, whether it was back in the first year at Greenbrier, which I'm going years ago when Stuart Appleby shot 59 and won, or maybe it was Caves Valley for the BMW Championship a few years ago where Cantley and Bryson duked it out at 27, 28 under, something like that. It feels like they're not going to go out and beat up all these players. They're not going to make it overly hard. You've got members who are going to go play there the Monday afterwards and continue playing in their golf season. They don't want to trick this thing up to the point where the membership can't play the golf course for 3 or 4 months afterwards. And so I think we're looking for guys that make a lot of birdies. Only going to play 7,100 and change to par 70. There's some length in the par 3s, which of course takes away some of the length in the par 4s and par 5. So I don't think you need necessarily a big hitter on this golf course. I'm looking at guys who make a lot of birdies. I'm looking at guys who are due. We'll get in some names here, I know, in a minute, but it's going to be a fun track. It's going to be really nice on TV. Watching this one, I think a lot of people are going to go, I need to find some friends in Philly and get hooked up at Cricket Club because it is a hidden gem that's not going to be hidden for too much longer after this.
Patrick, we're looking at, as Jason said, a 7,100 and change par 70. It's interesting because I think the takes are going to be across the board here, and we're not going to know who's right until they go out Thursday through Sunday. I listened to Alex Bickle over on Pat's show. I guess it was yesterday. He's played this course, I believe, a number of times, competed on this course, and he was saying, it's probably going to be a little tougher than what Jason described. That the rough is going to be a little penal, the fescue is going to be a little penal as well. And that the undulating greens are going to be very tricky in terms of getting it close to the hole on approach. So what are that's just one person's impression. We heard Jason's. What's yours?
Yeah. I'm probably in line with whoever said that. I don't know who it is. But yeah, I watched a flyover. I watched a 15-minute flyover based on that, which you can find on YouTube. It's not a secret or anything. I think it depends on what they grow that rough out to. I haven't looked at the greenskeeper sheet yet, or what they grow that fescue out to. And it seems like the main defense are the greens and the green complexes and how firm and fast they get them. I'm not sure what the weather has been like in the Northeast at all. I know you're not too far away from Philly, Sia, but if it gets firm and fast, I could see something around 15 under. And if it's been wet there recently, I could see something lower than 20 under. It's kind of that type of golf course, but based on the flyover, looked like it was pretty wide off the tee, pretty pretty lenient in that regard, and I'm looking for someone who has a decent run on bent grass also. So probably going to bet Patrick Cantlay and probably going to lose money on Patrick
Oh
Cantlay.
my gosh. Are we going to do that again? I'll tell you what, just based on the information that I heard. And again, this is one of those where it's like, I hate to use an overused phrase here, take it with a grain of salt, but it did seem, even though this course doesn't necessarily present with the par 70, 7100, it did seem like driving distance would come into play a little bit. I think putting, certainly, you'd mentioned bent grass, Patrick, comes into play. I do want to mention, it looks like we're looking at the scorecard right now over here on the SportsLine YouTube channel. Looks like we only got 2 par 5s and just a ton of par 4s, one very short par 3, which is interesting, 122 yard par 3 on the 14th hole. And then we've got one really long par 3 and then kind of one that's in that 172 yard range. Just an interesting setup in general, but ball strikers, obviously, good putters, distance. That's probably what I'm looking for. I'm just going to mention some names that came to mind, and then you guys you mentioned Cantlay, Patrick. Jason, I'll go to you next. Maybe there's some names you have. Rory obviously stands out. And I do, before I even say another name, what do you guys think the number? Because there's no Scotty Scheffler at this signature event next week. Everybody else is here, I think, but Scotty's not here. Let's go here real quick. Jason, what's the number on Rory? What does it open at?
Plus 450, plus 500, which I still think is too short. I mean, I'd like a better number, at least entice the public to go out there and bet on Rory in a signature field, even if Scotty's not there. But I think at that number, it's not unbettable. I mean, look, I would have said the same thing about Scotty on Tuesday and Wednesday. I did say the same thing about Scotty on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, which, hey, it's a really short number. You can't get me to bite at that short a number. As it turns out, you should have bitten on that short of a number. So it's going to be really short on Rory, like sub 5-1, but it's probably worthy of it. He's played great golf so far this year. It makes sense, and I'm probably not buying.
Patrick, I don't think I would buy at that number either, but I do like Rory this week, so we'll just have to wait and see what the number is. What do you think it's going to open at, Patrick?
I think around 4 is probably right. I mean, he's 5-1 to win the PGA Championship right now. Granted, that's at a golf course he's won at 4 times, I believe, so a little bit different, but that's a strong, deep field. This one, strong field, yes, but not as deep, just given with how limited it is with the participants. So I'd say 4-ish. I'm not touching it. But
yeah. I hope it's, I guess I was hopeful that it would be in that plus 450, plus 500 range, like Jason sort of opened with, but you're probably right. It's probably going to be, especially given his number at the PGA Championship, it's probably going to be plus 400 or south of that. We'll see. The other names I liked, and I don't know, again, I don't know if you guys have done any, your research yet on the Truist, since we've been talking about the CJ Cup for the whole week, but Ludwig kind of stood out to me as a guy that can get it out there. Great ball striker, can get hot in that department and can potentially get hot with the putter. Coy Connors stuck out to me. Victor Hovland stuck out to me. Victor is just one of those, which Victor is going to show up, obviously, but we know he has the upside. And so I just thought he was an interesting, this all is dependent on the numbers, of course. But I think Victor Hovland's number is going to be reasonable. As far as long shots, Keegan Bridgman, who had a bad tournament this week, and Jake Knapp, who I was all over this week and will probably be, I don't know if I'm betting him outright, but DFS wise, things of that nature, those 3 names, Keegan, Bridgman, and Knapp, I think are sticking out to me. Jason, any other names? I know it sounds like you like Cantlay, but confirm that. Any other names that jump out to you?
Yeah, first click for me, I was thinking it was probably Cantlay if the number's decent. Like Patrick said, really good bent grass player. He's done well in the Northeast. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a birdie fest than maybe it sounds like some others think, but Patrick Cantlay is known to make a whole lot of birdies, and quite frankly, he's due. I mean, at some point, you look at Justin Thomas a few weeks ago, like Scotty this week, at some point, like all the elite players in the world are going to have a peak week, and you're trying to hit that peak week when a guy's going to have it, and I think Cantlay's there. And then I'm looking at essentially long hitters play short courses well, if that makes some sense, with a nice combination there. Wyndham Clark is a guy that certainly plays into there, and I think the number's been pretty good with a high upside for me to chase Wyndham Clark a little bit. I like the Keegan play. The last time they played in Philly, I believe, was 2018 BMW at Aronimink, where Keegan won that golf tournament, I think, over Justin Rose in a playoff. So Keegan makes some sense this week as well coming up. Davis Thompson for a little bit of a longer shot. Maybe a Sam Burns, maybe a Ken Davis for a top 20 type of play. I think I saw him in there. Gary Woodland, another long hitter who plays short courses better, although he's withdrawn from the last 2 events. So I don't know if I really want to touch him right now. Don't know what's going on with him. Again, those are some of the names right there. I'm going to probably take a little bit more of a wait and see approach than usual, just because we want to see the golf course. We want to hear what the players are saying. So this may be more Wednesday betting than Monday betting for me this coming week.
Well, that makes a ton of sense. That's probably a really appropriate way to attack this, Patrick, because we are going to need more information. Because again, I'm still wondering if distance is going to be an issue. I've heard from what I think is a respected opinion that distance is going to be important. But then I look at I look at what you guys are saying, and it does make sense that maybe distance isn't going to be a big deal, which is why Josh kind of likes JT. If JT can put the driver away, we know what he can do on courses like that. Patrick, what do you like?
Well, distance is always an advantage, so
Yeah.
I'll put that one out there. Not only off the tee, but of course coming into greens that have difficult pins to get to. If you're hitting a shorter club, it's much easier, especially if guys are going to be blasting it everywhere, also potentially. So distance is always a key. I think a name I'm most interested in, not only for next week, but also for the PGA Championship, because no one is talking about him, and I think it's just completely disrespectful, is Xander Schauffele. I'm really interested to see what he does. If he has a good driving week, I think he is very, very live to go back-to-back at the PGA Championship. So that club in particular is one I'm looking at from one player in particular.
I'm very interested in the Xander Schauffele experience because I bet on him. I can't remember, a few weeks ago. I mean, he certainly had time where to put the entire game together, and we know parts of his game have really shined over the last couple of months. By the way, I did mention Jake Knapp, and Josh is correcting me in our private chat, saying he's an alternate, so he's not actually in this signature event as of yet. I think we got 72 players. This is obviously a no-cut event. Jason, I really liked what you said about kind of the wait and see approach and like maybe getting more information, knowing how penal the rough is going to be, kind of getting an idea of what this course is going to call for is going to be really important. All right. Jason, any closing thoughts before we close our quick preview on the Truist Championship?
Yeah, look, I was going to ask you guys, and I've not honestly looked at the field too closely. Is there anyone besides Scheffler that we're missing next week? Any top 15, top 20 types who could or should be there that we're missing? Is it basically a full field other than Scotty?
I'm guessing so, yeah.
Okay.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like we all have a little work to do to figure this out. But yeah, look, it's really hard to get away from the better players at these signature events. As we've seen, it might not be the best of the best, but it's going to be someone that it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's going to be someone that we've seen playing some good golf already this year and can go out and beat the best players in the world. So, some of those names I mentioned, like, starts with Cantlay, Wyndham Clark. I love his upside. And the number in the outright markets has been really good on Wyndham Clark. For a guy that's won a major, he's won some bigger events in the past. I think that Wyndham Clark will, I don't know if that's first click or, 1A or 1B, but Wyndham Clark's definitely up there for me.
And I think you're also getting good numbers on Wyndham Clark because of the state of his game right now. I think you're getting good numbers in the top 5, top 10 market as well in terms of like really good plus numbers. So that's also something to consider. You can pepper in the outright and pepper in some kind of like ladder-ish type stuff, like kind of ladder down, if you will, if you're starting with the outright in the top 5 and top 10 market. All right, that'll do it for our quick preview on the Truist Championship. Of course, way more coming your way with the DFS show tomorrow Monday at 7 o'clock. Tuesday, we've got the betting show at 7 o'clock. Wednesday, the live chat. We'll be talking Truist Championship throughout, including the Friday recap show where we recap rounds 1 and 2 and lead you down the road of Saturday and Sunday. And all looking forward to the PGA Championship. So Truist Championship, PGA Championship, that's what's coming up next. We are very excited about it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this particular quick preview